Skiddly boom.
My EDC is part of what defines me. The things I carry with me, a glimpse of the mind deep. As I awaken in the morning, I swing my legs off the bed and sit. Get up, shower, and shave, and get dressed, including my Sig. Normally a random knife fills my pocket to complete my EDC choices for the day. But today is a brand new day, and a new opportunity is here. I put a new Sig in my pocket, a brand new Sig Sauer knife, thanks to Eikonic. If I could afford it, then I remembered I spent way more on my guns and realized that I was stupid. I only buy quality, that's why I buy Sig. Still, to be honest, it's lower than expected. Somebody out there made my wallet feel protected. Just like my carry gun, I expect a smooth action and quality parts. Don't razzle-dazzle me with warranties and fall apart. A Sig in my pocket, a Sig in my belt, a sense of completion, something I've never felt. A solid matching pair to go with me everywhere. Where will the day lead me? I never know, but I'm always prepared. Come rain, sleet, hail or snow. Taking care of the backflow with my 2-ton backhoe. Confuse me for some bozo. Pretty stoked for what I got, yo. This knife is a solid deal, bro. Smack back down to reality and I look in the mirror. I step back cause what I see is my fear, just like it says on the car mirror. Objects are closer than they appear. Just suck it up and power through, make a minute and see it through. Spend the extra cash, you know, through and through. You'll be happier in the end for the cost of just a gym shoe. Dude. A Sig in my pocket, a Sig in my belt, a sense of completion, something I've never felt.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you for joining me as always. My name is Jim, and today I'd like to expose you to something new and special. For those of us that are knife fanatics as well as gun lovers, I think this is going to scratch that itch that a lot of people have. Because a lot of times when you see a gun manufacturer's name on a folding knife, it generally means it's going to be garbage. Think of the Browning knives that you saw for, $30, $40. Think of the HK out the front knives that just weren't of any kind of quality. You should have never said HK on them, at least coming from me, a big HK fanboy. So when I see the Sig Sauer name on a knife, if I didn't already know this brand inside and out, I'd be a little bit worried. Now, full disclosure, I'm actually friends with the owner of Eikonic Knives, and that's how I was able to get my hands on these. And I've had these for quite a while now, and I don't remember when he said he was going to be introducing them to the world, probably at SHOT Show, which was just under 2 weeks ago now. And I got to tell you, man, these things are a lot nicer than I expected. Because when we go back into the history of Eikonic Knives, Eikonic was meant to bring out designs from world-renowned, very highly sought-after knife makers and make affordable production knives from them. And I don't mean taking a $2,000 Ramon Chavez and then making a $400 production folder out of it. That certainly is budget compared to the custom. I mean taking a Ramon Chavez and breaking it down to an $80 production folder. That's what they were able to do. Now, obviously, the Chavez and the Jonas Iglesias were my favorite of the original Eikonics. I think they're all fantastic, but those two really stood out to me. And here we've got something I feel pretty special in this Suru. This Suru is a Tanto design that is 8 inches in overall length with a blade length of 3.3 inches. Even though it looks and feels like it's a bigger blade, it's only 3.3 inches, and it's crafted from 154 cm, which is an excellent choice for an EDC steel. And the weight is only 3.5 ounces, and this is a true flipper that's set up on ceramic bearings with a ceramic detent, meaning it's going to be super fast and super smooth. Now, I want to talk, before I get into both of these knives in detail, I want to talk about some hits and misses overall for the brand, not really model specific. But here's the way I see it right now as they're coming out of the gate. Remember, these are brand spanking new. These are the first of, I think, 4 or 5 models that are hitting the market. So there's plenty of time in the future to see how they grow and evolve the brand, which I do know that they're planning on doing. First up is the hits. I like the nice light weight of these. Now, yes, they could have gone lighter by having a titanium set of liners, and I do wish that they had done that, but these are steel. Because at the end of the day, most gun people are not knife people. And they don't really care about the benefits of titanium. They want that extra little bit of heft. And they want to hear stainless steel. They want to know they're getting steel, 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 steel. Okay, fine, cool. You've got a nice snappy detent, which means you're going to have super secure blade retention as well as a fast flipping action, because it's you having to overcome that detent. Once you break that detent, it rockets out. You have a super strong lock built in here with the Michael Walker liner lock. And of course, the proper tip-up orientation for the pocket clip. I really like the use of the classic Sig logo done in the flat-faced pivot. Very nice integration there. You almost can't even feel it. They did a really, really good job on that. But there's some missed opportunities. In my opinion, and this is just me speaking, I feel that they should have offerings that match finishes that are used on Sig's guns. Now, on this Validus, you could probably say, okay, well, that matches up pretty well to their black finishes. And I'd have to say that you're kind of right. But that's really where it ends. I would love to see some matching finish work that goes up alongside the guns. Because as you see in the photography I did earlier, right now the only Sig that I have that's left as a somewhat stock Sig is my P365 XL, the Spectre comp, so it's the comped slide version, and I had that in the Coyote Tan. And my other P365, I have up-converted into a completely different frame, different slide, barrel, compensator, everything. So it's almost not a Sig anymore. At least visually, you can't tell it ever was. I no longer own any P320s, just not my thing anymore. I used to be big into the P228s, P229s, P226s, P220s. When I was really getting first interested in guns, it was really as a child, because I would see my old man had a stack of magazines all the time. They're always gun magazines. And in the early to mid 80s, certain guns were talked about more than others. Glocks and Sigs were certainly the most talked about, because Glock was something that was really, 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 really new at that time in the early to mid 80s. It was all the controversy about them and all the lies that were being spread in the media about them. Oh, it's the plastic and ceramic gun. You can slip through the metal detectors at the airport, all those kind of things. And then you had Sig, because Sig was getting all the government contracts, all the 3-letter agencies. Their agents were carrying Sigs, 220s, 226s. 226s were going into the military as well, most famously with the Navy. And it was just one of those brands that I grew up learning as much as I could about them. And then every cop show on TV, every movie, the good guy almost always had a Sig. In the beginning, go back into the early 80s, the bad guys had the Glocks. Good guys, who were supposed to be, the government agencies were supposed to be the good guys. Oh, how funny that changes when you grow up. Anyway, they always had the SIGs. Your FBI agents, DEA, stuff like that, they had the SIGs. And SIGs were friggin' cool, man. So when I got old enough that I was able to start buying and carrying guns, very early on, I got into SIGs myself. I had, the first I purchased was a 220. And I won't go off into a tangent about that, but it was one of 5 that was ever made. I'm waving my hands in excitement because I'm talking about that knife, sorry. One of 5 ever made. It was absolutely unbelievably gorgeous, and it was made for a special contract out of the country, and I got my hands on one, and it was amazing. And it was in 38 Super, which was a caliber I've always loved. And I've carried 228s and 229s. As heavy as a 229 is with its stainless slide, I still always liked it. But that was back in the days before we carried in the waistband. And then just a few years ago, I went back to a 229 in the Legion 229 and realized, hey, a little thicker than I want to have in my waistband. I'm going to stick with my skinnier guns. And I bought a number of P229s. And don't need to go down that road, but I don't have them anymore. And I have loved the P365 series since it first launched. I had one of the very first that hit my state when they came out. And it has been perfect, trouble-free, accurate, and a wonderful carry gun, as is my Spectre Comp. It is fantastic. So I've always had a love affair with SIGs. One of my dream guns, the P210. Another dream gun, the original German-made X5. Ooh, I'd love to get my hands on one of those. So when I found out that Eikonic was going to be working with SIG to do these, I got super excited. I just wish there was a little bit more signature SIG in it. Maybe the slide serrations cut into the scale material or into the blade. Because I would have put jimping there, and then you could have extended the jimping into those slide serrations. I think that would have been pretty darn cool without being overdone. Now, the Velatus touched on this a little bit with the thumb studs. I don't know if you could quite see it with them being all black, but they're replicating the feel of a slide release. Not too bad. Pretty good way of doing it. But I think a little more without going overboard would be really, really fantastic. And honestly, I kind of wish the names would match up too. Suru and Validus. It doesn't correlate to anything in SIG's catalog. If you had a mini Tanto, let's say this was a 3-inch Tanto, a little mini Tanto, and called it the P365, boom, it would just work. And maybe a full-size 3.5-inch to 4-inch drop point called the P226. Oh yeah, that would work. Oh, how about this? A sleek and slender spear point called the P210. And yeah, I want a Legion. I want the Legion finish. I want the Legion G10 scales with the Legion coin inlay. So maybe in the future, as this brand grows and evolves together with SIG, maybe they'll do that. And I think that would be pretty damn awesome. Now, would that jack all the prices up? Yep, sure would. So they did what was smart. They took some iconic blade profiles. Here's a really nice clip point in the Validus. Validus, by the way, means strong in Latin. They've done a partially serrated blade on there for all of you tactical dudes that think you need sort of saw blades. you think you need serrated blades. A lot of the gun guys that make their way into knives go for full serrated, partially serrated, half serrated, and I'll never understand why, but okay, sure. I mean, okay, maybe if you want to cut a seatbelt, sure. But I keep all of my edges keen enough that they'll slice right through the nylon seatbelt anyway. So, yeah, anyway. But yeah, they did it right. Tanto, clip point, $249. I think this is around the same price. See, you're around that $250 price point. Everything is done the way it should have been. I personally despise micarta. That's always been a personal thing with me. I don't like how it feels. I don't like how it looks. But micarta is still one of the top selling materials in the entire knife industry. So I am the minority on that. I would always rather have G10 like we're seeing here, or carbon fiber, over canvas micarta. But a lot of people like that tactile feeling of the canvas micarta as well. And that's fine, man. I totally get it. I understand where you're coming from. Just not my personal thing. And that's okay. We could agree to disagree. But I think they made the right choices. They used very popular materials, popular colorways, classic, if not iconic, see what I did there, blade profiles, great grinds, great edges on these, by the way, very, very well done. Good materials in the blade steels. Here we have 154 cm, and I believe we also have the same, no, I'm sorry, it's M390 on the Validus. Now the Validus, you're getting a bigger knife. You're getting into something that's more substantial. It's going to fill your hands a lot more. Let's talk about those size differences, shall we? Overall length of 8 inches. Overall length of 8 3/4 inches. Blade length of 3.3 inches. Blade length of 3.78 inches. That's a big, big, big difference. Everything's on ceramic bearings and ceramic detents. This is a flipper plus thumb studs, so you have 2 different ways to deploy it. Here you get the all black PVD coated blade, which helps with corrosion resistance, of course. And here you have a nice bead blasted, then stonewash blade on the bevels and on the swedges. And your flats are done in a really nice hand rub satin finish. Blade finish wise, this took more time, took more skill, and I have a deeper appreciation for it, especially with this grind. Really well done on that grind. Back to the whole serration thing. I'll never understand people that are fascinated by it. It's not something I've ever needed, and I cut a lot of shit. That's okay. If you feel that you need it, it is an option. You can go partial serrated or no serrations whatsoever. A little bit of a weight difference here. This is 3.5 ounces, and I'd say this is closer to 4 to 4.2 ounces. Got a nice thumb ramp here. So this is more of, if you want to call something a fighting knife, sure, this is more of a tactical fighting knife. You've got a pronounced finger choil here, where the flipper helps to work as a finger guard. Then you've got that thumb ramp there. Sort of Bob Terzola-ish. And a nice organic shape coming down the back of the palm. And then another tactical feature is right here. There's your glass breaker. So this really is that more utilitarian design, because you've got the serrated or partially serrated blade on there with the glass breaker. So this is that knife that if you're going to plunge into a cold river while you're being chased by spies off the bridge, this is probably the knife that you want to have with you. So keep that in mind on your next spy mission. You want to have that partially serrated blade. You want to have, I'm just kidding, but you do have some very useful options on here. It's nice to see somebody doing that this day and age. I like the feel and the balance on this one a little bit more. The ergonomics are just fantastic. But this has almost a Quaken, almost a Japanese Quaken look. If it had a little more of that curvature from tip to butt, it would be more of a Quaken style, and I'm a big fan of Quakens. That's my favorite style of Tanto knife. And again, that action, so smooth. The gravity just kind of takes over, and you can just give it a couple little shimmies and shakes, and it goes right back home. So I think Eikonic made a lot of great choices here. Great materials, great price point, nice, clean styles. Nothing is overdone. And yeah, I'm happy to admit, if they had incorporated a lot of the things that I said, maybe people would have felt that it was gaudy and overdone and too on the nose. These are clean and classic, and that might be the best way to go. Anyway, I hope you guys get a chance to check these out. They are going to be available on Eikonic's website, and there are a few online dealers that work with Eikonic as well. I believe Blade Ops is one of them, and I'm sure White Mountain Knives and a couple others as well. So be sure to check around to find the best deal. But try to get one of these in your pocket, because I think if you're a Sig fan, you're absolutely going to love having these in your collection. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.